7, episode 1. April, so we just finished Easter 2025. We just wrapped that up. And I love Easter. Easter's great. Church services and family and all that good stuff. Definitely one of the ones that you always have to kind of like, there's like procedural things you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Just things you have to do. Kids, you do Easter egg hunting and also all that sort of stuff. Did y'all get up? Did y'all meet up? Did y'all have a good time on Easter?
Yeah, our Easter was great. I went to church, went to, just be with our family, eat. But my favorite part of the day probably was a 2-hour nap that I had. I'm just going to be honest, y'all. I needed a nap.
Sunday naps are amazing. That's kind of a ritual, or at least one that we try to keep. Yeah, we had a great Easter. I have young kids. Easter egg hunting is a really big deal, which I don't understand that. As an adult, makes zero sense. I mean, you fill the egg, you hide the egg, then you tell your kids to pick up the egg. Like, this is so counterproductive. It gets you nothing other than, I don't know, sweetness, I guess. So we had a great one. Family got together. We ate a lot of grilled food, which was amazing. But my family, we are really big sweet eaters, especially my side. My aunt made like, it's like this Oreo Mississippi mud cake, or I forget what you call it, but that's amazing. And then my aunt also made banana pudding from scratch, and I brought it home. I got the leftovers, and man, it is stupendous. So I'm there for the sweets mostly.
I love it. I'm not a sweets eater. I'm salty all day long in my food.
More ways than
I left the door wide open. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But give me all the chips, the pretzels, the popcorn. I'm like, yes, that is my jam.
yeah.
So no, Easter was good. I'm really excited about this series that we're starting today because every business is at a different place, right? And so regardless of what place your business is at, media is something that can actually be an asset to you. It can help you. And I think depending on where people are in their business, they might question that. And so today we're going to answer this question: what if my business is failing? If you have that question, I want you to know that media is not something that you want to draw back from, right? Maybe you're thinking, my business is failing, the sales aren't coming in, I'm feeling invisible, you're starting to second guess. But because even though your business feels like it's failing, it doesn't mean that it's a failure. It might be a little messy, but you can actually use media to move you through this season of messy, and you can move through it with purpose and rebuild something that you may feel like it's broken. So I'm excited to get into this conversation today. And I think we have to start off by just reframing failure. Because failure actually doesn't disqualify you from being a business owner. It actually refines you. And even if your business is in a really tough season, don't feel like you have to pull back from showing up. It's in those hard spaces where we can lean in a little bit and be more authentic. Now, I'm not saying you have to announce to the world, I feel like I'm failing, my business is failing. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But at the end of the day, I think taking people through your journey, even if you feel like you're at a rough spot in your journey, is really, really, really important. And so, Mitch, I would just love your thoughts on that. What do you think about inviting people into a journey using media when you may not feel like your business is at the best spot?
I think it can be one of those things where, over the time I've been a part of different kind of retail shops. And when you're slow, it can be it definitely can be, especially if you get paid, any kind of commission, or if your pay is based on the performance, it can be rocking. And if you're a business owner, you're definitely of that mind. And it can really rock you. But there's something about, doing the things that you never, it's almost like spring cleaning. It can be like doing media during those droughts, or whatever you want to call that period, can be included in this list. Like, maybe if you have a storefront, maybe you need to wash the windows. I don't know. Maybe you need to clean something that you never clean. Maybe it's doing work that will set you up for the next season. Or I don't know, whatever it could be. But doing media during that time can definitely only help you. I mean, really, you can look at it as I have more time to do it. I mean, when you're busy, and you're being successful, it's hard to slow down to where you can do media. Maybe you can stock it up. Maybe you don't post every single one. Maybe you can go in and it's if you look at it as an opportunity, well, I have an opportunity now to educate people how I make this product, or maybe I can convey my heart behind the reason why. Maybe you can get down to the why on things, whatever. And then if you do more of it, maybe you have a stock, maybe you have a library where you can go back and do it or use it when you're busy. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those hard things that you kind of fill your time with things that promote you even in the future. And it's difficult to like think about that as an opportunity, but that's probably the best way you can, or at least one of the best ways you can look at it.
Yeah, I love that. When you were talking, I thought about this word momentum. It's like I might be at a rough spot, but how can I use media to build some sort of momentum? So let's talk about maybe what that could look like. I think first and foremost, reconnecting with your story is always a good idea. Even if you feel like your business is at a tough spot. So maybe you're like, I don't know what to post. I don't want to necessarily, tell everyone everything that's going on. Well, what can you tell them? You can tell them your story. Go back to the why. Talk about when you started, the original heartbeat of your brand. Try to reconnect you with your purpose, right? If you reconnect you with your purpose and then tell that story through media, you're going to help people connect with your purpose and with your story. And then also, I think even in a rough season, still try to give value, still teach, still share tips, still post a quick win, right? You may not necessarily have to always focus on selling, right? Yes, you want to sell, obviously, and tell what you have to offer. But if you're in just a rough spot and you need a little pick me up, maybe you're like, you know what? Let me serve my people. Let me add value. That's going to build trust. That might bring more sales in because remember, you're setting yourself up as the go-to person. Even if you're in retail, I mean, you may want to talk about, not just the products, but why you choose the products you have in the store and how that points back to your purpose or how you set things up or sales that you have coming up. Anything where you can add value to your people is always a good thing. And I'm all about always documenting the process, right? I may not tell you all the details, but I want to share my growth with you, right? And so how can I share growing with my media? And growing can look different. Sometimes just not quitting is growing. And maybe you want to say, man, I've been in business these X amount of years. I've had maybe some tough times, but man, I'm so glad I'm still here. I'm serving my people. Maybe you can share with them, I started, but now I'm in a season of coming back to my why. Or lately I've been navigating through a hard season in business, but here's what I'm doing to continue to serve you guys. And so any way that you can add value and share your story, I think is always, always, always a good thing. Mitchell, I would love I know you're all about story, and sometimes hearing your own story is the thing that can get you going, right?
It totally can. You stole my thunder. That's exactly what I was going to talk on. Uh, Two things on that. So it gives you an opportunity to maybe revitalize and to get inspired and to be eager to do what you went into this thing doing, because you think about the reasons why you did this. And you could turn that into media. You can turn that into a story of how you got into this thing, or maybe even how it's changed over the years. Maybe you've had a pivot, but still checking that box off of the heart behind why you're doing it. Another thing is to build momentum is to share stories of your clients or your customers. So maybe you're selling a product or service, and again, we've said this countless of times, people love stories. So you can talk about a story of one of your clients or customers that is using a service, using a product, and how they keep coming back for it, or how it impacted them or their business, if it's B2B, or if it's impacted a family because they love the product or whatever it is. Like, so you can just share those stories, and again, maybe it would inspire another person to go along and help build your momentum.
Yeah, I love that. I'm, stories are always so powerful, and we know how powerful authenticity is, how powerful vulnerability is, and just bringing your people in along with you is always, always such a good thing for your business. And along those same lines, it's like you're also letting your people know that a certain season doesn't necessarily get to define your business. When people can see your growth journey, people get excited about that, right? People get excited. So even though you may feel like your business is in a tough spot, if you get a small win today, share the small win. People love to celebrate. And that's really how you build momentum, sharing a series of small wins. And so you got to just resolve this season of hardness. It might be messy, but it's not going to define me. In this season, I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to use my message. I'm going to use my media. I'm going to show up. And you can really use media to help you navigate through this season. Mitchell, any final words, just especially for the businesses that feel like media is really used to perform when we know it's really used to connect, right? People think I got to use my media to impress people. So if I'm not doing good, I don't have anything to impress. But really, instead of impressing someone, it's really an avenue to build trust. And so I just love your encouragement to any business owner out there who, because they're in a tough spot, they've pulled back, they feel like they can't perform, they feel like they have nothing to impress. But we just want them to know, like, media is such a great way to connect and rebuild trust with your client base.
So, two things. First, I'll answer that question directly, but something you said really spurred a thought, and it's about kind of planting a seed. So, I want to get back to that. But as far as your question, like some inspiration, I think one of the things that we do really good as a team, We Dream Media, we do an excellent job answering that question of, well, I don't really have anything. What do we have? There, no one's interested, or whatever. I've seen us in a room with people, and just hearing a little bit, it's easy for us to find something that will turn a small idea into something that you can get traction on. And what I found over us kind of teaming up and talking to these folks, it's out there. You just have to either, I know sometimes when I get stuck on a problem, if I look at it from a third party perspective, if I'm in the driver's seat and I'm dealing with an issue and I get stuck, I don't know how to get around this obstacle. What I try to do is get from a third party perspective and look down at it as if I'm answering this question for someone who's asking me that question. And it's easy for you and I to be that third party perspective looking into something and seeing, I see the obstacle, I see where they're at, and from that perspective, you can see how to get around those obstacles, get through it, get over it, get under it, go around it, whatever it is. So I would say that helps me out in trying to get around something like that. And obviously, you can reach out, and we would love to help out. The other thing is, when you plant a seed, the more amazing work is done in the dark. So the seed transferring into a plant, that's the miracle. Like, that's the thing. So when you're in this dark spot of a low performing month, week, depending on whatever kind of industry you're in or whatever, that's the time that you can really dig in and find ways to maybe not lead to a sale or to high performing whatever that day, but maybe it would lead into something later on that wouldn't have been there if you didn't have this dark period. So you can look at it as planting a seed, doing some amazing work in the dark, no one's seeing it, and then that leads into something for later.
Yeah, no, it's so, so good. Such wisdom. So if you are answering this question today, what if my business is failing? Let us encourage you today. It's not a time to draw back. It's not a time to hide and be invisible. It's really a great time to be visible, to keep showing up, to keep leading, to keep moving forward, to keep rebuilding trust. And of course, we'd be glad to help you with that. Listen, you don't want to miss any of these episodes, this whole entire series, because we're going to answer your what if question. Remember, no matter where you are in business, media can be an asset to you. We want you to see that, and we want to come alongside you and help you execute on that. And so make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And we're going to keep digging into how media can really help you grow and build your business, because together we
We
dream
dream media.
media.